Hello, welcome to RICHMO Media. You are live on the TV, you are live on radio, live on YouTube, and also on Facebook. If you are yet to subscribe to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that right away. We also are live on Facebook, so please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Today, my guest, okay, I'm not ready to introduce her yet. Let me talk about the female show. So this is the female show, the only show that mails the wonderful stories of women doing extraordinary things in the food and ag industry. And so in a few seconds, I'm going to introduce my guest to you. My name is Adjoa Sifa, and I am your host for the female show live on RICHMO Media. Hayley is my guest. So she was in the fashion industry and had to move from fashion to the farm. Can you believe that? All right, so she's going to tell us about everything you need to know, especially if you're a young woman or even an old woman and thinking of Hello, welcome to RICHMO Media. You are live on the TV, you are live on radio, live on YouTube, and also on Facebook. If you are yet to subscribe to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that right away. We also are live on Facebook, so please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Today, my guest, okay, I'm not ready to introduce her yet. Let me talk about the female show. So this is the female show, the only show that mails the wonderful stories of women doing extraordinary things in the food and ag industry. And so in a few seconds, I'm going to introduce my guest to you. My name is Adjoa Sifa, and I am your host for the female show live on RICHMO Media. Hayley is my guest. So she was in the fashion industry and had to move from fashion to the farm. Can you believe that? All right, so she's going to tell us about everything you need to know, especially if you're a young woman or even an old woman and thinking of moving from fashion or any other industry to the food and ag industry. You need to listen or watch this. Hayley!
Hi, Nana.
Okay, so Hayley is my guest for today, and she is going to tell us about herself. Hayley, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me. Delighted to be here with you today.
It's good to see you again. Okay, so my guests want to know you. Who is Hayley? All we have seen on the flyer is Hayley Wilson from Finsbury Food Group. So please tell us more about you.
Yeah, sure. So, thank you for having me again. My name's Hayley Wilson. I'm currently a development account manager for the Finsbury Food Group based in Scotland. So we do a lot of new product development for cakes and treat bites, slices. But as you quite rightly said, my background wasn't in food to begin with. I came from a very different background. I actually studied fashion marketing and retailing at university, so completely different from the food and agri industry. And I worked a little bit in London and a wee bit in Australia in commercial positions within the food industry. And although I loved fashion, I always have done, I found the industry to be a little bit unethical, and I really fancied a change. And I'd always loved food and had a passion for retail. So I decided to apply for the MDS Management Graduate Scheme. So this was for people who'd recently finished university and wanted to do something different. And it was their first introduction into the food industry. So they sent me to 4 different companies doing 4 different jobs, all within food and agri. I was doing dispatch team leading out on the farms, picking plants with a team of people there. I was doing crop micro and residue testing for pesticides for a technical company as well. A completely wide variety of roles, very much swapped my high heels for my welly boots. And then when I finished that, my placements there, I went on to work as a development and NPD development technologist at the Finsbury Food Group, where over the years I've worked my way up to a senior development technologist and now to a development account manager. So very varied background, and certainly not, I didn't ever anticipate working in the food industry when I was in school or when I was young.
Yeah, so I'm really interested. I mean, you are young, you're beautiful, and
Oh,
fashion is like every young woman's dream, right? So why would you move from fashion boots to whirly boots? Like, why would you move from fashion to the food and ag industry? Can you tell us more? What attracted you into the sector?
yeah, well, the food and agri industry, I think, was something for me growing up I didn't really know a lot about. So it was only in I always loved food. I was always really interested in food. I think it's something that very much we can all relate to. Whereas the fashion industry, I felt, was very niche. It was very much they're targeting a select customer for their brand or for their clothing that they want people to wear. Whereas, one I kind of was thinking the fashion industry seems a bit unethical here. It doesn't seem to be ticking all the boxes. It's very select. Food opens up a lot of opportunities. There's so many jobs I didn't even know existed in the food industry. I felt it was very exciting. It was very fast paced, and there were so many jobs that I didn't even know existed. So through MDS, that really opened my eyes to the number of jobs that are available out in the food and agri industry, and how varied and exciting a job in the industry could be.
Oh, that is so nice. So I am sure that in the past few years you have actually gained some skills, you have learned some lessons. So I want to know what were some of the lessons that you learned, or what how have you been able to utilize those skills you learned in the fashion industry?
Yeah, certainly. So I guess a lot of things really. Fashion industry taught me a lot about being resilient and pushing through for everything that when you're when you're having difficult times and you're facing challenges, you've really got to push through to succeed. And I suppose even when I joined MDS, when I said I gave up my high heels, my first job they put me out was leading a team of dispatch people picking plants. I mean, I'd never done so much physical work in my life. It was all day picking plants out the ground. It was hard work. You worked up a sweat, and that at times could be exhausting, and that really taught you to be resilient. When I moved from all the different placements from one company to another, I only had 6 months in each company, and then they moved me to another company in a different role. So that really taught me to be adaptable, to be flexible. You had to, quickly learn a new job and be delivering results really quickly and meet a new team. So I guess through that, I was learning a lot of people skills, how to build relationships. On fashion, whether it be to a design or a new product, you had to act quickly, get new materials in, source them. In my job right now, I do that as well. So in the food industry, when we were struggling to get materials in for a new product or ingredients, I should say, we have to react quickly and find alternatives, especially in the current climate when this is quite difficult to get ingredients and materials at the moment in the current climate we're living in.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. So I got some of the challenges in there, but I want to know specifically what, and I know that moving is not easy. Transferring these skills, obviously not easy. So what were some of the challenges you had to overcome, right?
Yeah, so the challenges I would say, well, as we mentioned there about physical challenges, never had to experience that so much in my life. It could be exhausting when I first started out in the food industry. Very much a few days when I thought, I don't know if I can go out, especially in the UK, weather is not the best. It's freezing cold. You've got your gloves on, you're pouring rain, out picking plants. So definitely physical challenges. I would say other ones would be I didn't have a technical knowledge in the food industry when I joined, so I didn't understand, how to develop recipes. I didn't understand about, ingredients and what their functionality was. And I've had to learn that through the job. I've had to learn that through on the job as well. I wasn't trained in that. My background and my degrees in marketing, so that was a big learning curve for me. And I guess as well, the being adaptable, being proactive, as I mentioned before, that's all been challenges as well, because you have to realize you have to always be quick. You have to always think on your feet. And I guess through doing the job, you overcome those challenges. You have to, because if you don't, things move too quickly. You have to always be on the ball.
You're a strong lady, really strong. Okay, so in all this, what kept you going? Sometimes you feel like really giving up. It's natural. It's human nature. So
Yeah.
like, what kept you going? What kept you moving? Like I'm sure at some point you really wanted to give up, but I said no. I had to do. So what kept you going?
Oh, definitely. There was certainly days that when especially in that first job, when I was like I say, picking plants, a lot of the time, my team, everybody I worked with, we all spoke different languages. We didn't speak the same languages. There was a lot of sign language going on. There was a lot of communication barriers. That was struggles and that was challenges as well. And there was many days I thought, can I go into work and do this again? And have to try and go out in the freezing cold weather and pick plants. But I guess what really kept me going was the fact that my team, the people I work with, I really like working with people. And I always think, there's a team out there, there's people that rely on you, and you've got to be the one that's got to be constantly happy, constantly positive, constantly motivated, and drive that team to success. So no matter how rubbish I might have been feeling on the inside, I was going into work every day with a smile on my face and saying, right guys, come on, we can do this. Here we go. Let's do it. So I'd say definitely my team keep me motivated. They keep me going for sure. I'd say definitely having a strong drive and determination to succeed will always guide you through in anything that you do. I've always been someone that really wants to do well and to do better for the company or for everybody, the people in my team. And through that want for success, you have to be motivated. And that, I guess, with that comes motivation and with a positive attitude. And even on the most rubbish day, if you can pick 3 things that were good that happened that day, whether your favorite song came on in the radio in the morning, that's one positive for your day. You take that positive and you run with it, and you say, you know what, there's always going to be a worse day. This is a good day. Come on, let's go for it.
Right. Oh, thank you very much. All right. So if you just joined us, you're live on RICHMO Media. On the female show, we have our guest Hayley Wilson from Finsbury Food Group, and she is telling us about her journey from fashion to farm, or from fashion to the food industry. So welcome. We are live on the YouTube, live on Facebook, and live on the radio as well. All right, Hayley. So let me just chime in this. Is there a best way? I mean, to get in there, to jump that career. So is there a better time? Let me put it that way. Is there a better time to jump that career? You made that move from fashion to food industry. Would you advise anybody that, hey, wait, this is a better time, or no, this is not the better time? Do you think there is anything like a better time?
Well, I'd say it depends on how you look at it. You will either look at it as it's never the right time or it's always the right time. And I would say it's always the right time has got to be the right answer. If you've got the right positive mental attitude, you'll always be able to do that, and you'll always be able to make the change. And you shouldn't be scared to make the change, because it's such an exciting career. There's so many different jobs in there. A lot of your skill sets that you might have learned from previous jobs are transferable, and you can transfer those into the food industry, and you'll be surprised how many of those skills are, whether it's people skills, whether it's a technical background, a marketing background. A lot of the things that people don't even realize that they can use in new jobs, it's always the right time, in my opinion. You can always make the change. It's just having that leap of faith.
Yeah, I really love to listen to or talk to those who have actually done it. So they have walked the talk. They're not just talking. All right, you have made that bold step, that bold move. So please tell us, what are the best steps to make a career jump? Do we have anything like best steps?
Best steps, I would say, is to find out what jobs are out there, first of all. So do your research, be really, really thorough, that it's online. Reach out to the people that you know that are in that industry. If you know somebody that's in that industry, pick up the phone and say, how do I get involved with this industry? Is there any jobs in your company that I'd be a good suit for? Find out what's suitable for you and where your skill set would be best applied. talk about it all the time, because you might find that people that you come across that you don't even expect them to work in the food industry, they might know somebody who knows somebody else who works in the food industry, and they might just happen to be the person that says, hey, I've actually got a job at my company, we're looking for somebody that's done the same thing as you. So I would say it's about constantly doing your homework, your research, talking to people, and just getting out there. Don't be afraid to take that first initial step.
Don't be afraid, just take that step. We are listening to or watching Hayley Wilson from the Finsbury Food Group. She is still talking to us about her journey from fashion to the farm. Now, Hayley, people are watching you. Others are listening to you on radio. What recommendations? I know, because I'm in the sector, I know that there's so many opportunities in the sector. What recommendations will you give to those who would like to learn more about the opportunities in the food and ag industry?
Okay, so I'd say do your research through LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a great place to see what jobs are out there. I'd be searching on all the food web pages. So the grocer is a great one. You can see a lot of jobs that are out there through the grocer. Contacting people, as we mentioned before, friends, family, anybody you know that's in the industry, or even just people that might know about it through somewhere else. Look up management schemes. That's how I ended up going into the food industry. It was through a graduate management scheme. It was something I'd never done before, and they were very much, although there was a lot of people who were on the graduate management scheme the same as me that had backgrounds in food science and backgrounds in farming, I had came from something completely different. I came from a fashion background, but they were still open to take me as a student because I was keen and I showed willingness and enthusiasm. So be extremely enthusiastic, be motivated, show keenness, and be always open to learn. And I'm sure you'll get where you want to be.
Oh, be open to I love this. I love this. All right. Thank you very much, Hayley. If you just joined us, we were speaking with Hayley Wilson from the Finsbury Food Group. And I was inspired at a point. I was lost, We really need you back. We need you maybe for part two. Thank you very much. I'm very sure that my audience are inspired. So definitely we'll get some questions for you. We will send them to you and we will read out your answers later in the show. So thank you very much, Hayley, for your time. Do you have any last words?
Thank you so much for having me, Nana. It's been a pleasure to be here, and thank you to all your listeners for listening in. I'm very much I'm passionate about the fact that women are being pushed forward in the food and agri industry, and I think it's really important that we're talking about it. So you're doing a great job, and I really appreciate being part of it. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. So thank you very much for your time. We were talking to Hayley Wilson. I am sure that you've been inspired. If you want to go into the sector, you know what to do now. She spoke about the opportunities, her challenges, her personal challenges. She's walked the talk, so she's not just talking. You have the right person. You have met the right person. I'm sure that you got one or two tips. So if you want to make that career jump, hey, go out there and just make it. But before that, do your research. Learn from people, listen to people, learn from what they have been through, and I'm sure you will make it. Thank you very much for spending time with us. And if you have not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe to RICHMO Media. If you have not subscribed to the Facebook channel, please go ahead and subscribe, and see you next week. As always, on The Female Show, we are mailing the success stories of extraordinary women in the food and agribusiness sector. Thank you very much. Bye.